Week 11. Miami Dolphins have a bye. So I actually get to sit back, enjoy these picks. And I got my guy, Ghost of Adam Gase, on to help me out. What is up, football fans? Wednesday. That means it's the pick'ems. Like I said, I got my bud from Twitter. If you don't know about him, go check him out. The Ghost of Adam Gase. Very funny name. And he actually has a pretty funny Twitter handle. Huge Dolphin fan just like me, up in New Jersey just like me. So I thought, why not have him on? One of the many names that I get from you guys to have on the channel. I hear you. I listen to you guys. So, I mean, I have a lot planned. We still have, 6 more games, 6 more weeks, 7 more weeks, 7 more weeks, which means 7 more guests. I got a lot planned for that. But yeah, the Dolphins 7-3, first place AFC East, second place AFC. I just get to sit back. Now we're going to talk about it, but the Jets need to lose. Jets win, they take the first place back, and second place. Essentially, if the Jets win, they take the Dolphins spot because they beat the Dolphins. So Patriots, you're home. Take care of business. Before we jump into the picks with my bud, I got to shout out today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. They cover so many different sports. They even cover League of Legends, which you guys helped me out when I saw LOL on there. I was like, what the flip gaming is that? But they cover everything from golf to boxing to NFL, all that good stuff. Use the promo code DDW. You match 100% of your first deposit up to $100. You essentially pick 5 picks in the day. You pick the over or under. You can win up to 10 times your money. So check them out, Prize Picks. Download the app. They also have it online, and also bet responsibly. I got the man here. Now, if you guys don't know who he is, then you're not the 12.3K Twitter followers he has. I got the Ghost of Adam Gase on the picks this week. Bud, how you been?
Wonderful. Just got back from Fort Lauderdale. Just flew in a couple hours ago. What a weekend, man.
Right?
What a weekend.
Before we jump into anything, what's your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins, this game you got to see live? What's your thoughts on this team? 7-3 right now.
You know, we were kind of waiting for the game all season. We're like, could we just win a game? I was talking to, Blizzy, Story, those guys, my buddies, and we always just asked each other, like, we can never just win a game outright. We can never just play great defense when the offense is playing great. We can't play great offense when the defense is playing great. And finally, we kind of put everything together, and you got to subtract Jason Sanders from that, but I'll give the special teams a pass. But finally put a full, complete game together. I think I was looking at some stats on the way home on the plane, and I think they ran the ball 30 times or almost 30 times. It was almost an even 50-50 split of pass and run, and there wasn't a single negative play that Miami had all game. Incredible.
It's like you said, it's so great to see all those facets of the game finally work. Where to the point where Skylar Thompson goes in, gets the first down.
No, when was the last time that we saw a backup quarterback to come in because we were up so much and it's kind of just injury prevention? I can't remember.
I honestly can't. No, I really can't.
If it even has ever happened.
Yeah, no, because I remember a while ago when we beat the crap out of the Raiders. I was already smashed by halftime. That's how much we were beating the Raiders by, and we still had our starter in. Like I can't. Tua's just that guy that they're like, all right, put him back in the glass case. We'll break it for emergency in a week or two.
I think it was a drive too late.
We're going to jump into these picks, and we're going to start with the Thursday night game. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Green Bay Packers. Finally get a win. Packers are actually giving 3, which I'm surprised by this one. I thought the Titans might be the favorite in this one. What's your thoughts on this game, Titans at Green Bay?
You never know. This always goes back to remember when Rodgers gave us the relax kind of sign. I think they're a little bit further than that. They refuse to trade for a wide receiver. It seems like they're doing everything they can to not give Rodgers any weapons. But it was a big win. I mean, coming off a big win. Who knows? I mean, it is Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been the Aaron Rodgers that we've seen all season. Tennessee's going to go in there. They're going to pound the ball. Packers, they had a huge problem, with the Jets, running the ball. The run defense has been playing very poorly. I think the Packers' pass defense is fine. But Tennessee's that team that's just going to go in there and they're going to pound the rock. So I take Tennessee all day there.
Yeah, I agree. Even though the Packers are at home, Tennessee,
Yeah.
like you said, they couldn't stop the Jets, Brees Hall, and
Right.
Derrick Henry's a completely different monster. So yeah, I'm there with you. I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans on that one. Next, we have the Chicago Bears heading to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Justin Fields, all of a sudden coming into his all, looking ridiculous. So on my fantasy, I started Josh Allen and I dropped Rodgers, I picked up Fields, had him on my bench. He got 40 points on my bench. Like that's
Yeah.
just how it works. The Falcons are actually giving 3 in this one, which I'm surprised. I thought, again, another one where I thought the Bears would be the favorite in this one. I'm going the Bears just because of Justin Fields. I think they had a tough loss against the Lions last week. I think Justin Fields and the Bears bounce back. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it might be a little bit of recency bias, but after watching that Atlanta game on primetime that we're all forced to watch, I mean, the game was terrible. I mean, the Mariota, well, I don't know what was worse, the butt fumble with Mark Sanchez or the Mariota back throw, whatever you want to call
God,
that.
he was like on
It
the
is
ground.
surprising. It's very surprising that Chicago, they're getting 3 points here. I mean, that's very surprising. I'd take that spread all day. Honestly, I think Chicago wins out right there for sure.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields has another big day. I might be tempted to start him over Josh Allen in my fantasy league. I don't know. Carolina heading to Baltimore. Baltimore's given 12 points. I don't even know if there's much to talk about with this one. Carolina, had a few surprise wins this season, but is there really much of a discussion with this one?
No, I don't know if Baltimore covers 12 points. I mean, 12 points in the NFL it's not like college, but as far as winning outright, that I don't see something would have to go catastrophe long. I mean, Baker Mayfield could come in and have some kind of revenge tour or whatever he wants to have, but I still don't see it happening. I mean, they had a full blown fire sale this year. They're in basically tank mode, not as much tank mode as the Colts tried, even though they ended up winning, which is hysterical. But yeah, I don't see a way, barring some Baker Mayfield heroic performance, Baltimore is going to win that game all day.
Yeah, 100%. They're just the better team. Got Cleveland, who we completely destroyed, heading to Buffalo. Buffalo, who we're very happy they lost that game. Buffalo's giving 8. Cleveland has a horrible run defense, but Buffalo doesn't really have a run game. First off, what was your thoughts on that Vikings-Buffalo game?
It's actually really fun. I'll try to make the long story short, but obviously we were on our way out. We got to the truck. I was with Nikki Hicks. He's unofficial sponsor of my wardrobe these days. But he pulls up the game on his phone, and it's tough to get service when there's so many people. And he goes, "Dude, I think the Vikings just scored." And we're like, oh, because we were watching the whole game and we're like, oh shit, Vikings, they didn't get in. I think they got stuffed on the 4th and 1 or whatever it was. Or Justin Jefferson, his elbow hit down. And then we're all depressed because we thought we had a win. And then we just jumped out of our seats. He started screaming. I started to scream in the back seat. But yeah, that was crazy, man. Like you couldn't put in a better cherry on top for the end of the day, knowing that the Buffalo Bills lost and that we were going to be in first place, at least going through the bye week. So, I mean, that was huge. That was awesome.
Yeah, and you even pointed out on Twitter that one play where Cooks got stuffed in the backfield, they had 12 men on the field.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
I mean,
even
it's
pointed
fun. I love that because, we dealt with the excuses. I kind of put out every time Buffalo Bills lose. First of all, they've played 3 Super Bowls now so far, and it's only, what is it, week 10? They played 3 Super Bowls. They played the Super Bowl against the Dolphins. They played a Super Bowl against the Jets, and now they played another Super Bowl against the Vikings. Every time they lose, it's the other team's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But it is funny seeing the Bills fans try to talk about, the refs last game with Sauce Gardner on that, that Hail Mary that I think he played great defense on, objectively, but still they're not, except like they literally played by a different set of rules on that most critical play. I still think it was first down, but I mean, they tried running the ball. It's easier to stop the run when you have 12 men in the field, but it's funny seeing the Bills getting the short end of the stick. You're not going to find any sympathy from me from all the excuses we heard all year.
No, that and the Gabe Davis non-review on the
exactly. They played by a different set the entire, that fourth quarter, that overtime. It's terrible.
And I'm glad that it ended with Josh Allen just throwing a stupid pick. But yeah, Browns at Buffalo. Buffalo's given 8. Do you think the Browns have a chance to upset and then really put the Bills in the basement?
I don't know if you saw, but they are calling for 4 to 6 feet of snow for that game.
Wow.
So you're gonna play right in. I mean, Miami's great against the run.
Yeah.
Miami's been great against the run. As long as there's not a quarterback putting up the stats, Miami's been fantastic against running backs. I think they gave up the least amount they haven't given up a 100-yard rusher to a running back all year. I think they gave up the least amount of touchdowns to running backs all year. And that's going to play right into the Browns' hand, man. I think that offensive line. I mean, who knows? I mean, the Bills are kind of in shambles. You got the moms of Buffalo starting not a GoFundMe, but what are those, the change.org petitions to tell Josh Allen it's okay. Like, dude, I'm telling you, the fan base is in shambles. I don't know if you saw that. They started this like petition for all the moms of Buffalo to reach out to Josh Allen and say that, it's going to be okay. But that could honestly, the 4 to 6 feet of snow, real talk. You could see something like the Patriots game. It was last year, the year before they played in the tornado. I mean, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, that offensive line is still good. The Browns defense doesn't look that great against Miami. We just shredded them on the ground. But if you want to find a way to take Josh Allen out of the game, take passing out of the game, and just put a 4 to 6 foot blizzard in there, and Browns definitely have a chance. If that blizzard does end up happening, it's hard to give 8 points. It's hard to say they're not going to cover. Maybe win outright.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if that blizzard does happen, then I would actually pick the Browns. I guess that's a deciding factor, is really what dictates that game. Because like you said, you take the pass game out of it, Josh Allen's not the same guy. You look at that Patriots game where, Mac Jones threw 3 times, complete 1, and they still won the game. So
I know. That's still like one of the most mind-bending stats of the last 2 years.
Right. And so many Patriot fans, we'll get to the Patriots, but so many Patriot fans want to, this past offseason, we're talking about Mac Jones, and he took the Patriots to the playoffs, and he didn't do anything. We'll get to that. But next we got the Commanders taking on the Texans. Commanders beat the Eagles, and
they look pretty good doing it as well. Taylor Heineke, man, wearing all the chains on the plane ride home, giving his best Kirk Cousins impression. That was a pretty funny video. But watch that whole game, dude.
They're given 3.5. They're the away team given 3.5. The Texans, they have Pierce, their running back. Other than that, they got nothing.
I had high hopes for Davis Mills because I wanted him to be the best quarterback out of that quarterback class. It was kind of cool seeing him dark horse it a bit last year. And, Zach Wilson's our division. You always hear, it's always fun to say, Davis Mills the best quarterback out of that draft class. But I think the Commanders went out right. Houston's they're still not there, man. I think they're the worst team in the league.
And they finally own their own pick, plus somebody else's. Yeah. So they're probably just like, now we can tank on purpose and not give our first round pick to the Dolphins.
It's pretty crazy that the Bill O'Brien butterfly effect is still haunting them 3-4 years later now. It's crazy.
And they might not keep Laramie Tunsil for long either, which is even funnier.
I'm hearing some rumblings that him and Chris Greer are text buddies, and
bring him back.
Maybe we'll see him back in Miami.
Bring him back, right tackle.
Yeah.
We got the Eagles taking on the Colts. Eagles 8-1 now, brought down to earth. Eagles didn't even. It's not even like a lot of people look at that game and they look at the roughing the passer and they look at the non-face mask call.
Yeah.
Regardless, the Eagles did not play a good game on Monday night against the Commanders, and then you got the Colts, like you said, they won for just Saturday.
It's kind of, maybe it's like the Dan Campbell effect. Whenever there's like a new head coach coming in, they always try to come in with a new offensive game plan. We're going to pound the ball, pound the rock, whatever it may be. That's exactly what they did. I mean, they came in and won the game outright, but that fades pretty quickly. I don't think the Eagles necessarily played a terrible game, but they had opportunities to put the game away and they didn't. And when you have teams like Washington who aren't good, but they're not a bad team either. They're a motivated team, young team. You got a kid that's playing for his job at quarterback, trying to find foothold as a starter spot, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to come out and he's going to play his heart out, But I think the Eagles still win that game.
Yeah, and they're given 6.5. I think it'd be about a touchdown, give or take. So I think both ways I would take that game. Next, Jets taking on the Patriots in New England. If the Jets win, with the Dolphins not even playing, the Jets get to first place because they have the head-to-head over us.
Yeah.
So we're going to be rooting hard for New England, because then all of a sudden, if New England wins and Buffalo loses, all of a sudden it's like they're Buffalo might be in fourth place by the time this weekend's over. New England, they don't really have themselves a quarterback, even though they thought they had themselves a quarterback. New England's actually giving 3 in this one. What's your thoughts on this one?
That is pretty crazy. I see that. I thought it was gonna be like a 1.5 point game or
Mm,
1.5 point spread. It depends a little bit on Zach Wilson though.
yeah,
He can't make the same mistakes he's been making each week. Even though we hear from Jets fans that he's improving, and I mean minimal improvement. I think he went from like a 10 QBR last year to I think he's at like a 40 or 50 now, which is
mm,
right below average. But yeah, if we're talking spreads, you have to take the Jets. They've been cover kings all year.
yeah.
Um, that's going to be really. I think the Jets probably will win. I think they could have won. They had that roughing. I think it was the tough roughing the
Yeah, on the
passer
pick
on that
six.
pick six that the
Mhm.
Jets had. So anytime that there's a game where there's just like a monumental play that just gets called back, I know that it's not you should never rely on calls to win a game, but that was a pretty monumental play. But I think the Jets they'll split with New England this season.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. I don't
Yeah.
want them to win for obvious
Oh
reasons,
no, I'll
but
be rooting for New England for sure.
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
that their defense is just too much for the Patriots to handle there.
Yeah.
Next one, we have the Rams beat a very beat up Rams taking on the Saints, who continue to play Andy Dalton, and I don't understand why. Saints are given 4. They're the home team. I'm gonna pick the Saints in this one because Cooper Kupp's injured, and the Rams are just they're talking about a Super Bowl slump. But I don't understand why the Saints won't play Jameis Winston. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to. I don't know. They're the Saints. Since when you have like a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback who just retires, it's same thing with happening with the Steelers right now.
Mm,
Same thing with happening with the Steelers. Same thing happening, with the Saints. It's like they're not bad enough to really tank. They don't have that bad of a roster to tank, but they're not good enough to win now. Even if you put some building blocks around, quarterback, whoever it may be, whether James Winston, Andy Dalton, whoever it may be, they're just in a weird spot. What is crazy though is, if you told me in the preseason, like, hey, when the Rams go to New Orleans next year, they're going to be 4-point underdogs, and Matt Stafford's going to be starting. It's like so much crazy stuff has happened this year. But the Rams, I don't know, man. I think they sold their soul for a Super Bowl,
yeah,
and I was kind of like, I was kind of getting anxious because this was during like the whole Watson stuff. This was during, all this stuff that the Rams were giving away all their picks. I'm like, it kind of works. You could build a team that way, but as you've seen, that is not the way you build a team. They're in a huge slump right now. New Orleans probably wins, but they might even cover that for.
yeah,
The Rams haven't been doing anything this year.
yeah. It could be a field goal game, and that 4 that spread of 4 always sucks because
Yeah,
it could be a field goal game, and then all of a sudden you're kind
yeah.
of screwed yourself. Next game, Lions heading to my neck of the woods, New Jersey. Our neck of the woods, New Jersey,
Oh, yeah, for
taking
sure.
on the Giants. Giants playing really good, surprisingly. Brian Dable really turned that team around, really got that offense going. Saquon Barkley, new life. Really good to see that. And then the Lions pull off that win. I don't know what to think of the Lions, though, to be honest with you. I think they got a good offense, but I think their defense is really suspect. 3.5 Giants are given. I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. I just like Saquon better, and I know the Lions have a really bad rush defense. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Giants are gonna be able to control that game. I mean, the Lions are. I think their offense is great. I mean, you could make a super bold statement and say like the Lions. I mean, if they, by all intents and purposes, they could have a top 10 offense,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like, everything was, especially in the beginning of the season, they were dropping like 40 a game,
Yeah.
35 a game. It was crazy. But I think they got a good offense, but I think the Giants are just. I think they're. I don't believe in Dan Campbell. I don't think he's a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a little too old school, too rah rah. It's the era of the football nerds. The McVay, the Shanahan, the McDaniel. I mean, dude, that is what it is. I
It's
mean, these
working, man.
guys they don't respond to these old school guys come in and I'm gonna run through a brick wall for you. You know what I mean? Guys don't respond to that these days, and it's these geniuses that are coming in. But I just think I think the Giants are going to control the game. Lions can't stop the run. I think they're better, way better coached.
Mm-hmm.
So I take the Giants all day on that for sure.
Yeah, and Hard Knocks. We watched Dan Campbell do up downs and all that stuff. Which,
Yeah, it's like I think in like the '90s, definitely even early 2000s, man.
yeah,
Like that's a coach. Like that's like the Bill Cowher and and that's what you really wanted. But these days, man, it's about connecting with your team.
Yeah, I remember when I
It's
played
crazy.
football, which was around, early 2000s. I used to have my
Yeah.
coach grab my face mask, yell into my face. They don't do that no more. They don't yell at
No.
you like that anymore. It's more like, tell me what I can do to help you do better.
Yeah. And it works, man. Look at McDaniel, baby.
Next, we have two teams that are surprisingly bad in the Las Vegas Raiders and going to the Denver Broncos.
Mm.
Uh, Before we even get into the picks, do you think McDaniels survives this year?
Oh man, it's a weird spot because it's funny because it's predictable. I mean, not a single head coach has panned out from the Belichick tree. I mean,
That's true.
McDaniels himself. It's kind of funny because when he left to Denver for that 1 year, won the playoff game, and then he still said, "Screw this, I'm going back to the Patriots because I don't think I could sustain this." And then he tries to do it again, and man, it's been a very big disappointment for the AFC West overall. But I
Oh
think
yeah.
the Raiders are the biggest disappointment out of that entire division. Like Chargers, however, to a Herbert conversation, but there is there's cause for concern there because they're losing all these players. We know
Mhm.
we know what it's like when you're trying to make it work with some practice squad players as your receivers. But talk about a team that's been a disappointment. That Raiders team, man.
They go out and they get so many players, and everyone thought that, they had a chance to unseat the Chiefs, and that doesn't happen. And then like the Denver Broncos, they go out, trade so many draft picks to Seattle to get Russell Wilson, and Geno Smith ends up being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. It's like
They're playing top five level. It's crazy.
it's
It's
ridiculous.
insane.
Denver's given 2.5.
So my rule for this one is whenever there's a losing team giving points, I just take the underdog immediately.
Gotcha.
They're having tough time to cover their own spread. Never mind give somebody else points. So I take the Raiders spread all day there.
Yeah, especially because it's 2.5.
Yeah.
100%. Field goal wins that one. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Next one is actually a really good one. I'm surprised this isn't a Sunday night game. It's the Cowboys heading to
Yep.
Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings just keep winning. Like they just keep finding ways to win. Last second, Cardinals, Bills. It doesn't matter what game they're playing.
Fumble from Waddle.
Exactly. We
Dude, they've been winning these. They're. I mean, I don't believe that they're. What are they? They're 9-1 now,
eight
or
and
eight
one.
and one. 8-1. I don't believe that they're an 8-1 team. I
Mm.
mean, but hey, your record says exactly what you are. So I mean, you got to give them credit. They just beat the Bills, so I can't hate them this week. But I don't think that they're an 8-1 team. The ball has gone their way almost every time on a coin flip situation.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah, we forced them to punt 10 times, more than any defense this season, and we lost that game because of a.
they didn't get a first down until the third quarter.
Mhm. I think we were winning 7-6 at one point. Like we.
Yeah, imagine if we had an offense that could score on maybe just one of those drives, two of those drives, and two that goes in the two MVP conversation.
I did the math. With two on the field, the Dolphins convert about 54% of their third downs. Without him,
Yep,
it's about 24%. It's a huge
that's
difference, and
terrible.
he would have changed the aspect. But what are your thoughts? Like, do you think the Cowboys have it? Like, supposedly, I don't know if this spread is true or not, but the Cowboys are giving two, and I don't know if
I'm
maybe.
seeing right now. I have the live. It's just a 1 point spread, and Dallas is -1. So it's a game's basically a toss up. It's almost it might come down to a pick 'em. It's probably just going to
Exactly.
keep going towards Minnesota. But
I would go
yeah,
Cowboys. I like the Cowboys defense. I think they can contain the Vikings offense. So if I'm picking, I would go Cowboys there.
I take the Cowboys too. There has to be there's got to be one of those games where everything that Minnesota has gotten this year
Mm.
is kind of just that league karma that comes and bites you, and
Oh
you
yeah.
were a beneficiary. At some point, the ball can't go your way every single play. Like the things that had to happen for them to win that Bills game, like that is. It's incredible. And what makes it even worse
Mm.
is that Josh Allen's the only quarterback to fumble on his goal line in the last. There's only two times it happened in NFL history for a touchdown, and it was Josh Allen in 2020, and it was Josh Allen in 2022. So that makes that situation even more weird for the Vikings that they get to be a beneficiary of that. But at some point, the ball's not going to go your way. I think Micah Parsons is going to cause a huge disruption
Mm.
to Kirk Cousins there. I think the defense is good. Diggs is still a ball hawk over there. But yeah, I'd go with the Jerry world here.
Do you think that this is just the universe kind of paying back the Vikings for that Seattle Vikings playoff loss where you missed the field goal from like 15 yards out?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's crazy though because then you have like the that miracle in New Orleans when
Mm,
Stephon Diggs when he comes up and he comes up with
that's
that
true.
crazy catch that whatever they want to call it was Case Keenum throwing the ball. So it's like Minnesota's just on this crazy run of just the ball, and it's not just everyday football plays. It's the stuff like the Waddle fumble and then
Hmm.
Josh Allen fumbling into his own end zone and just all this crazy stuff, man. But Dallas is a good team, so I think
Yes.
Dallas
Yeah,
is on par with any team in the NFC. I don't think the NFC is good at all. I think that there's only about 3 or 4 good teams at all
I
in the
agree.
NFC compared to about 8 or 9 in the AFC. But yeah, I think Dallas takes that one for
I
sure.
agree, 100%. Next, we have Bengals heading to the Steelers. Steelers actually getting a win. Bengals, I think they're coming
Yeah,
off a bye there. Um, they just still don't have Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow is different without Jamar Chase. Cincinnati's given 5, which I expect. The Steelers are not good. It just is what it is. Regardless if Pickett is going to be anything or not, at this point, the Steelers are just not it. I'm going still Cincinnati, even with them giving 5. But I've noticed that Joe Burrow just plays different without Jamar Chase.
yeah. I mean, his QBR has sunk. I think they just played the Browns were coming. First, people don't talk about this now. Like we want to hear. This will just be a kind of sidetrack for a
Hmm.
second. People want to talk about, it's just the Browns, and everyone wanted to say, oh, the Browns defense good matchup for Miami, this and that, and but all of a sudden Miami wins. Oh, it's just the Browns. They
Exactly.
smoked the week before or the week before their bye. They smoked the Bengals. What was it like
Hmm.
32-14 or 13 or something like that?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow had like a 12 QBR in that game. So people don't talk about that enough. And Pittsburgh here is getting 4.5 points or five points. You
Hmm.
said so.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the divisional dog at home there. The home dog. That's going to be That's a tough cover for them to go into Pittsburgh. No Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow's playing a little bit shaky here. I'd take Pittsburgh spread all day there.
If Joe Mixon can get him another 5 touchdowns, maybe,
Yeah,
he got me like 40 something fantasy points. I was like, God.
yeah. I played him. I played against him.
But yeah, no, I could definitely see where you're coming from. And especially with that, bro, like they have Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett. Neither one of them touched Tua Tagovailoa. The only time they ever touched him is the high snap. So they just
Yeah,
they don't want to give the Dolphins credit. It don't matter. You face one of the top passing defenses in the Chicago Bears. Well, it's the Chicago Bears. Who
yeah,
cares?
yeah.
Is what it
Toronto
is.
said he did a hell of a job against Myles Garrett there.
Oh yeah, completely controlled him that game. Then we got the Sunday night game. The Kansas City Chiefs heading to I almost said San Diego, L.A. to take on the Chargers. Kansas City's giving 6.5. San Diego's beat up. Herbert looks off. Herbert's getting every excuse that we said for Tua, but now all of a sudden it's actually factual when Tua it was excuses. It's just funny. They're talking about Sean Payton being the next Chargers head coach when they're
Yeah.
not even talking about firing the coach. It's all this stuff. The fact that it's a divisional game, I don't know if I would take the spread at 6.5. It could be closer than that.
Yeah.
But straight up, I would take the Chiefs. But with the spread, it's hard for me to choose. What's your thoughts?
I would take again divisional dogs. I think the over under on that one is about 51 or 50. So Vegas thinks that there's going to be a lot of points scored in this
Hmm.
game, and you're going to pit a 6.5 point spread against that. So if we're talking spreads, I'd probably be on the Chargers, but I think the Chiefs went out right there. I don't think there's enough firepower that's healthy on that Chargers defense to stop Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is still. I didn't think that Mahomes would be able to play this level of football still. It's he's playing a. If you do watch Mahomes though, he's playing a very much different game.
Yeah.
Um, they don't have they don't have that much firepower at receivers. I mean, Kadarius Toney made a couple of plays, finally got him involved. Good to see him get out of a situation that he wasn't happy, make some plays. But I mean, other outside of him, you got guys like McCole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he had that one good year with the Steelers, and
Then he
he's
danced his
getting it
way
done in a
out.
different way. He's getting it done in a different way. You look at these passing charts, and people want to talk about Tua being a check down merchant for 2 years, and you look at Patrick Mahomes' chart, dude. There was like 14 balls behind the line of scrimmage. It's crazy.
And
But I think the Chargers probably they could cover. 6.5 to a divisional home opponent is crazy, but I can't see the Chiefs losing that really.
Yeah, no. And, like you said, he probably realized, all right, I don't have the same weapons I did when I would. Because a lot of people want to knock Tua underthrown balls or this and that. Mahomes used to just run to his right and throw the ball up in the air, and then
Yep.
Tyreek Hill would catch it. So he doesn't have that anymore. So, like you said, he's
Couple underthrows too. Couple underthrows.
a ton of them. So now he has to play that precision game. He has to play that
Yeah.
game where, okay, now I have to make the right throws. And, there's even some throws to Travis Kelce where he's reaching behind him one-handed,
Yep.
snatching it. It helps when you have ridiculous receivers. So
Yeah.
can't knock them. Then the final game we're going to talk about is the Monday night game. San Fran heading to Arizona, take on the Cardinals. San Fran giving 9. And for the first time, we don't have to root against San Fran, which is nice. It's not. It's
I know.
nice to not. We can sit back and be like, do whatever you want, San Fran, and you're
Good use of the pick too.
yeah, well, very good use of that pick. Bradley Chubb. Oh my God, the amount of pressure he got on his first game, let alone this past game. Really happy with that. This is another situation. Again, it's that spread is so high, especially for a division rival.
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray might be back in this one.
He is injured. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But there's turmoil. I mean, there's so much distraction and turmoil in Arizona right now.
mhm.
It's tough to see them like holding it together for a whole game, especially a divisional game like this. But covering 9 points to a divisional home dog that's tough. But again, if I pick straight up, it's going to be San Francisco all day. I don't think Arizona has anything together, man.
Yeah,
They just don't have it together right now. There's just dysfunction from top to bottom. You got Kyler Murray just going off on Cliff every single game. Going off on the DeAndre Hopkins, like he just doesn't have it together, man.
No, I agree 100. And they paid him already, so he's there.
Yeah.
So it's either Cliff or no one pretty much.
Right now.
But yeah, I agree. I think San Francisco, their defense is starting to click. It took them a minute, but now they've got their guys together. They're starting. I think they have like a top 5 defense when it comes statistically
Yeah.
in San Fran. So yeah, I'm picking San Fran in that one. But thank you so much for stopping by. Do you have anything you want to promote? Anything you want to tell the people about?
I don't got anything to promote, man. I'm suspended from Twitter for like another 5 days. I said some bad words to some Bills fans, and Elon didn't like that too much. But I'll be back, man. I'll be back on Sunday.
It's funny how that
Getting the
works, huh?
account back.
All of a sudden, we supposedly have freedom, and then we don't have freedom. But I'm not going to talk about that because I'm going to get in trouble. But
That's
thank you
right.
so much for stopping by. It won't be the last time. I'm going to have you on again soon. It's always great chatting with you.
Awesome, man. I appreciate having me on and getting to talk some shop after a nice win, going to the bye week, first place. I'm always gonna love to talk Dolphins football after that kind of situation.
Yeah, 100%. And, like I said, you're in my neck of the woods. I think you and Sorty are in my neck of the woods. So
Yeah,
we got to get together
sure.
soon. We'll hang
Definitely.
out. All right, bud.
Absolutely, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much.